5, 2025. My name is Monica Cavell. I am a sixth grade student at Temple Shalom of Norwalk, Connecticut. I will be interviewing my grandma, whose name is Heidi Gore, about her life and legacy. This interview will be recorded for the oral history archives of the Jewish Historical Society of Fairfield County, as well as their family archives. Over the next 15 minutes, or so, I will ask you questions that will help me learn more about you and our family's history, especially about our Jewish history. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Let's start with you telling me your full name.
Hetty Stern Court. My maiden
you.
name was Stern.
Who were you named after? Do you know?
I was named after my grandmother, whose name was Hinda, which is a Yiddish name. And Hinda was also my Hebrew name, but it's not really a Hebrew name, it's a Yiddish name.
You just answered the next question. In this class, I've been learning about the immigration of Jews into the U.S. and other places. Do you know where your parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents immigrated from?
I do. It used to be called Czechoslovakia. Now it's part of the Ukraine. But it was a small area of Czechoslovakia. But now it's Ukraine.
Do you know anything about Jewish life there?
I do. They had a very strong Jewish culture. They lived with, all their relatives lived within the same town or towns, and they were Orthodox. They were quite religious. So
was anyone in the oh, sorry.
No, Judaism was their whole life. So
was anyone in your family directly affected by the Holocaust in Europe or by programs in Russia, Poland, or elsewhere? What can you tell me about it?
Yes, your great grandma and great grandpa were Holocaust survivors. I lost my grandparents in the Holocaust, and I lost aunts and uncles in the Holocaust. And yeah, so we're very much affected. Most of our relatives, or on my side of the family, most of the relatives were.
Can you tell me could you tell me anything about our family's immigration to the United States?
After the war, my parents had some relatives in the United States, and they helped them come over, and they helped them set up a new life here. They got
Who exactly brought them over? Do you know?
Uncle Max. The American Red Cross, I think, had a lot to do. There were programs set up to help the people also, the Holocaust survivors after the war, to reach safety in the United States.
Where did they enter the country?
Right in New York. Ellis
Island
was closed by then. In Manhattan, I guess. I assume they were on a nice boat, a nice ocean liner ship, and they entered and they came into New York, and then they moved to Brooklyn.
Okay. This is a great background. Thank you. Now I'd like you to take out the item that you brought today, which I have with me, which is this item.
Ah, yes.
What is the artifact? Tell me about it.
Oh, that's a picture of your great grandfather, my father, back when he was in Europe. He was a very handsome man. They had a very comfortable life there until the war.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
Why is this special to your family? Well, our family.
Because after the war, a lot of memories were lost, a lot of artifacts were lost. You weren't allowed to really hold on to things. So the few pictures and pieces of jewelry they had were really special because so much was lost. So,
Do you know like around how old it is, kind of?
hmm, I would say 80, over 80 years old. I would, yeah, because Papa's now 103, and I would say he must have been maybe 20 years old when that was taken. Yeah.
Now I would like to ask a few questions about your life growing up. Where
Sure.
did you grow up and who lived with you growing up?
I lived in Brooklyn till I was 7 years old. It was just my parents and my brother and I. And when I was 7 years old, we moved to a house on Long Island, and it was just our immediate family.
Tell me something about school life. Your favorite teacher, favorite subject?
Mm. Well, I grew up in a very nice area. It used to be a very nice area. It's where Papa lives now, but the whole area was 95% Jewish. So we all grew up very similar, very the same. I loved going to school when I was your age, Maya. I loved all subjects. I just wasn't good at languages. That I didn't like. I loved math and English. Um, so,
What were what did you and your childhood friends like to do for fun?
oh, we would ride our bicycles outside. We would hang out outside all day, playing kickball in the streets, believe it or not, without supervision and without parents knowing exactly where we were, but we were always within a few blocks of home with all our friends. And there were a lot of kids in my neighborhood that were the same age. We'd go to movies on weekends sometimes, but we didn't have computers or cell phones, and we played outside a lot.
When you were a teenager, did you have a bat mitzvah?
No, I didn't because my parents were raised Orthodox, and Orthodox didn't believe in bat mitzvahs, so I never did.
Now, I would like you to pick your favorite Jewish holiday and describe how you and your family celebrate it when you were a child.
I would say my favorite holiday was Passover because that was the one holiday where all my cousins would come over. Not all, but a lot of my cousins would come over. And we'd all just hang out and I got to see everybody. And they would stay with my family for a few days because my grandma had the house kosher for Passover. So this way, if they stayed with us, they didn't have to worry about being kosher for Passover at their house. So, because my mother would change the dishes over every year for Passover and non-Passover dishes, even they were still on the Orthodox side. So besides just not eating bread, you had completely different plates and dishes. But I had relatives that staying over for the whole 8 days of Passover. So it was a lot of fun.
Now, I would like to talk about your family's Jewish traditions. What were your favorite Jewish traditions? It could be making a special food, lighting Shabbat candles, dancing the horror at a wedding, or anything else.
Well, every Friday night, uh, my mother always lit the Shabbat candles, and Friday night dinner was always chicken soup and some sort of chicken dinner. The only time we had chicken was Friday, Saturday night. It was never a weekday meal in my family. It was just a Friday, Saturday night. Um, yeah. So, and Grandma would always bake special things too for the holidays. She baked rugelach and which is a lot of work, but it was all good food, and she made the best chicken soup. So
Did anyone in your family serve in the military?
no, not that, not that I could think of. No, no, because they were all in Europe. So not on my side of the family.
How, how did you meet? Peepaw, which is my grandpa.
We met in college. Um, we both went to Emory University, and we met in Atlanta, Georgia. Two New Yorkers met in Atlanta, Georgia. So
What did you do to make a living in your adult life?
most of my life, I was a stay-at-home mom, and then when your mommy was in college, I got a part-time job, um, managing an office, which was fine.
Now we're going to wrap up with one more question. What advice do you have for future generations like me?
Always remember how much your family loves you. Stay off your cell phones all the time and YouTubes and videos. There's so much more to life. Read books. There really is a fun life out there without just staring. I know it sounds horrible and makes you sound old, but there really is so much more to do than being on a computer or a cell phone. And don't get me wrong, Maya, I'm always on my cell phone, always on my computer too. But there is so much more to life, like exploring and reading and just doing things, experiences.
Thank you for spending your time with me.
Thank you for the wonderful questions and for interviewing me. I love you.
Love you too.
Yeah.